The trade off was a lost cause. And as a consequence of others' disrespect, uh, curses are entitled to being fulfilled on the behalf excuse me, on the behalf of the spoken word of the empath capable. Nobody else. Only those who have the ability to actually, factually possess authentic empathy. Without it, it is null and void, a curse or a blessing. I fire the alleged God, God that is spoken about as if he is actually God, when in fact it's impossible for him to be God. You don't consequence the offspring of the fault and the actions of those who did the violating. It has been on the behalf of the, shall we say, exploitation of psychological thought and a projecting of accountability upon those of which are not culpable. The embracing of shame, pain, hate, and agony, apathy, so on and so forth, guilt that has been placed upon and been a yoke upon those of which were offended and violated, not those who did the violations. Those who did the violations have been the practitioners of, shall we say, unforgivable. I don't forgive. I could never forgive someone who was unforgivable. What would make someone unforgivable? Did they ever correct what they caused? If the damage that is done upon others, okay, and it's done to those of which are not culpable, they're not in the wrong, for them to be inflicted with abuse and harm caused by those who were supposed to be in charge of manufacturing and distributing a life worth living. And when those who are responsible for our presentation in this planet, when they fail to provide a life worth living, they are unforgivable. Unforgivable. And I don't care about our genetic relation. It is a sign of absolute failure, and it's a sign of absolute worthlessness. It's worthlessness when those who are the house bringing human beings into the planet, and specifically, most of the time, primarily they're bringing human beings that they did not consent. They were not legally secure to proceed to give birth, nor were they respectably honored to validate the childbearing. Those who usurp the power of natural selection, attraction, consent, respect, decency, validity, legitimacy, those who dishonor and disrespect it by enjoying the convenience and the gratification of witnessing, touching, feeling, penetrating, trespassing, licking, sucking, rubbing. You get the point. Those who abuse the faculties of the womb and therefore benefit off of wombs of which are not their own. Nobody can claim that they are the owner of the womb while being separated or coming out of it, but not having one of their own naturally already attached to thine own body. That makes you irrelevant. You have to have a womb in order to be an owner over the womb. And no man at this point exists to be an owner over the womb. And I know this to be true because, look, God is fired. God is not allowed. Even if he was allowed, he has proven himself as unworthy could ever be. He's not worthy of being recognized as a God. No. Nope. Not when there are wombs that are going without shelter, especially when their wombs in the facilities have been used. Homeless, but a used pussy. What are you gonna say? She hit the wall, she's ugly, she's stupid, she's unworthy of being housed? Did she birth human beings, or was she a experiencer of someone else's pleasure, of her own vessel? It is not a matter of who she chose or how she did. No, it is thy responsibility. And as far as the eye can see, fails all over the place. Every single womb that is going without food, shelter, respect, protection is grounds for those who see, hear, and know and partake in the houselessness of a house, of the deprivation of basic fundamental human rights and essentials that are necessary in order to survive, preserve, exist. Those who deny the house of house, food, shelter, so on and so forth. We're talking basic necessities. As a, shall we say, precursor, it is a invalidating proof of evidence, so the burden of proof. Well, we've got the proof. You are not worthy of being recognized as any God, even if just one woman or girl, anyone that is born initially with a vagina, anyone that is initially born with a vagina, okay, her being abused, going without food, shelter, support, and protection is grounds for you going without everything, especially when you know and you see. You cannot claim that you don't know and that you cannot see. And for those of which are the, shall we say, the practitioners of abuse against mothers, women, those who are houses, we're the house always wins. Yeah, and we're going to win because here's the win. You're entitled to having absolutely nothing, and that includes even your breath, on behalf of the women who birthed your asses on to this earth. You're entitled to being a beneficiary of absolutely nothing. Because you disparage and dishonor and disrespect your own home, of which housed you prior to any dollar coming into the world, the planet, prior to there ever having been a dollar. The fact that you guys are reluctant to be of service to foreigners, phallus havers, but you would have even one woman who has been penetrated, trespassed, disrespected, berated, whored out, assaulted, offended, blamed, shamed, guilted, robbed, harmed, okay, lied on, lied about, gossiped about, left with nothing. Her very body brings everybody here, and yet you've, I guess, considered yourselves to be somebody important when there's no way that you could possibly be worthy of being recognized as anything of importance. One woman being homeless, houseless, going without, being harmed, but yet is betrothed and isn't married and has no security in your fallacy, your fictitious goddamn construct. And you mean to tell me some God? God. Some God. That God is not due to recognition. Like I said, that God is permanently fired and banished. Banished. Because who is the Lord's wife? Who is the wife of God? Who is the wife of God, and who is the Lord's wife? Honor thy father and thy mother. You mean to tell me that God doesn't have a mother? How's that work? Here's what I have to say. You are cursed. Those of you who think yourselves to be something special. You're not fucking special. If I'm not special, which I agree, I'm not fucking special. But if I'm not special, you're specifically incapable of ever being considered to be special. If women are not special, you're not special. If we're not special, you're never going to be special. And if we can't have our own homes, and our own fucking food, and our own goddamn clothes, and live a life free from the experience of being abused and having to somehow suffice and tolerate being disrespected and going without, then you're entitled to losing everything, and that includes your breath. This is called a late-term abortion. Evidently, obviously, folks being alive and breathing was a mistake. They're not entitled to fucking exist. We can't live a life, but you're all here on behalf of the houses that bring y'all's asses here. And you're going to have the audacity to rip the fucking house off, talking about the house always wins. What, your casino? And then you guys want to talk about, well, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, build this and do that. We already did our jobs. And furthermore, we already did charity. It's not a sin that we did when we talk about sin no more. Sin no more. How about this? Since you can't ever take accountability for your penis, and it's always the woman's fault, the children's fault, it's always everyone else's fault as to why your dick somehow always lands inside of the very specific arenas that bring life into this planet. Since you're so irresponsible, then you're not entitled to make use of that of which you yourself cannot control. You don't know how to have discipline over it. You feel entitled to playing this yo-yo game of, oh, well, picking and choosing when the house gets to actually be in the fucking house. So, well, she didn't do anything. What do you mean she didn't do anything? Do you know how many women are fucking dead for bringing human beings into this planet? Are dead while attempting to bring human life into this realm. And you're gonna fucking, she didn't have to do anything. Are we stronger than men physically? If we go to war, women on one side, men on the other side, no weapons, no hockey sticks, no baseball bats, just fists, knees, elbows, teeth, whatever. You get the picture. Which side is going to win and which side is going to lose? Honestly, to instigate and to put this into fruition already says enough. Ain't no God. Ain't no God to be honoring. There is no God to honor. There is no God to honor, because God would never be okay with that. I'm going to have it to where one side against the other side and just let them do whatever and just beat each other's ass and then have the women just laying on the fucking ground. You were never meant to begin with to allow this shit to go on. And while you're driving around in those vehicles, right? While you're driving around in them and you see women, hell, you see girls roaming about for you to look at and prey upon, just know that you're cursed. Let it happen to be that you travel past someone while you get to go fucking home, while someone who is the home, she's the house, walking. Your bitch ass thinks that you're entitled to have a home and security and calling 911, calling the police, which is supposed to be the husband. Because if he's able to use excessive force, then I'm not understanding why you whores on this planet are calling him or bothering with any of us. Obviously, you need to call another grown-ass fucking man to help you out with putting us in our place, of which is the place of which is our place. Yeah, you did get one part correct by calling them. He puts on bracelets that are not Tiffany. Those are not Tiffany bracelets because you and your sense of entitlement. It's not a privilege to be grossly disrespected by irresponsible whores who whore out the children they were too fucking immature to raise and give a life worth living. There should be no such excuse as to why a house is houseless. Not if you've ever been able to fucking penetrate her or grab on her or see her naked or anything, to be paid in taxes, to employ, to hire. All of these things are welcoming and opening anyone and everyone up to being cursed and never being able to take another breath. And any and every attempt to come for a house or her children or those of which are covered by her grace, not blood but grace. Even though, yes, technically even blood, because we bleed every month. And we bleed when we bring your big head asses here. And like I said, prominently, we're having these big head ass motherfuckers on behalf of a rape. The rape comes in many forms. And this big fucking bullshit notion that, oh, because of, well, did you report them? Did you do this? Shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. The outcome speaks enough to prove it to be rape. No responsible, mature adult alienates the children from the other parent. No. Only a criminal offender, trespasser does that. So, houseless? Hungry? No protection? But you feel entitled to being a protected class of people. I'm sorry, excuse me. Are you a house? Then you're not entitled to being in front of nobody. No, you're not. Your alleged grief, your grievances are not more important when you can't even honor the ones who brought you here. Now, this is not at all to say that every life bearer or sperm depositor is worthy of applause. Of course not. But do you know you're not at the forefront of any discussion when you cannot fucking respect how the fuck you even got here? And then to think that are you living a successful life? Are you a successful human being? Are you rich? Are you well off? Are you enjoying the luxuries of life? Are you? That's proof of guilt. She's entitled to being free from bondage of the most scrutinizable, contemptuous children of which are worthy of late-term abortions, and those of which she has grace for and towards. So that could be anybody, her children, or anyone who is within a great standing on behalf of the eyes. The eyes are compassionate, but the heart is not. The heart is not compassionate, but the eyes are. So, in layman's term, your bitch ass enjoying your life while the wombs, or those that you feel entitled to objectify, are going through bullshit on the behalf of her unbearable, irresponsible, and disrespectful disgraces of children of which she erroneously created or she was violated in order to create. And what a shame. I speak on the behalf of those women who may not be cognizant, and I can speak on their behalf. Yes, I can, and I will. You're entitled to absolutely nothing when you have a hatred towards those of which bring humanity on earth. You want to talk about get a job? Get a fucking job. The fact that you motherfuckers are breathing. You're breathing, are you not? So what the fuck job does she need to get? Are you stronger than women? Yes or no? Simple question. Are you saying that you're weaker than women? Because if you're weaker than her, you should not be fucking her. And you damn sure should not be having children with her, considering that you are a worthless excuse on the behalf of nature's law. Nature says the king is entitled. The king who either whoops some ass or impresses the one with the house. You have to impress the house. If you don't impress her, No. You're not entitled to getting pussy or making children. You have failed on behalf of nature's law, which trumps everybody's law. So be blessed or be fucking cursed. How do you feel about mothers? How do you feel about houses? How do you feel about those who honor the mother and thy father? But let's keep this in mind. A lot of these motherfuckers who are sperm depositors are not those are not your father. Your father is who was the one that was able to make the piece of white paper turn into like a tissue paper, easily flexible, able to be crumpled into a nice little soft peak ball. If the paper is not all like flimsy, that's not your father. Just because someone can deposit sperm does not make them a father. It just means that they're a rapist. And you know that they're a rapist on the basis of side effects. What are the side effects? Multiple marriages, abuse, domestic violence, impoverished, children missing, scattered children, children going on without any protection. Nobody hears about them. Nobody cares about them. Those are great signs of a trespasser who's not worthy of being forgiven. Now, if there is going to be a God, it damn sure ain't been the one who's been fucking up for so goddamn long. Nope. Whatever the excuse would be that's written, blah, 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 and because of this, no. Men are entitled to take the life of those of which are not men. So if he's an enforcer of laws, he actually did enforce the law. So then making amendments with those men who used their physical strength to do what it was intended and created to do. That is what men are entitled to do. They're supposed to be given trophies and a blowjob when they use their force and strength to do what is right on behalf of nature and the houses and her children and her kin and the dick that she wants to go to bed with. That's the law. The rest of this is fake, a fraud, and that God is a criminal. You're sacrificing your own fucking children and you're not deemed a criminal? How's that work? Type of fucking mother is okay with sacrificing her children for a bunch of fucking hating ass, evil, selfish, greedy, worthless ass motherfuckers that were entitled to a late term abortion, not entitled to being loved and saved, since they can't fucking love that which is lovable. How on earth could you fucking make any type of fucking exception for such worthless parents? Cursed.